Hey, what's going on, friends? My name is John Waldman. I'm a filmmaker based in New York, and today I want to talk about the FX6. Is it still a good buy in 2023? I've owned this camera for 2.5 years, and quite honestly, it's changed my life from a filmmaking and business standpoint. I could confidently say this is the best purchase or investment I've ever made into my business. Things have just grown exponentially, and people DM me and ask me, is it still a good buy? Should we still buy it? Should I wait for a Mark II? And my short answer is yes, it's still a great buy in 2023. The FX6, right off the bat, it is an industry standard mid-size cine camera. You could literally shoot any type of content on this thing. Tons of productions are loving the FX line of cameras from Sony, especially the Sony FX6. It's right in between the FX3 and the FX9. I love having my FX6 and my FX3. It's such a good combo. FX3 I could bring out for the gimbal or the smaller jobs as requested. The FX6, anything and everything. And so on this camera, I've shot commercials, branded video, documentaries, corporate video, real estate video, music video, hospitality video, events, more. I've literally shot anything and everything on this thing for the past 2.5 years, and I don't see this camera going anywhere anytime soon. I'm not gonna sit here and go into specs, technical stuff, features. All those videos have already been made, but like, I love this image. It's beautiful. Sony did a really good job with this sensor. They've been putting it in different cameras. It's really standing the test of time. 4K 120 XAVCI, 422 10-bit, yada, yada, yada. The image rocks. So yeah, and just, going off with price, the high frame rates, the image is great. It's full frame, the ND, yada, yada, yada. You know the deal. For $6,000, that's freaking awesome. I still love it, and right now I'm at a point where I'm not concerned about leveling up my resolution, leveling up my frame rates. I just want to keep growing with my lighting, my cinematography, having bigger crews, learning from other people. The camera is just a tool, and I know I don't have to worry about the image. It's the other stuff that I want to get better at. As I look at the stuff that I first shot 2.5 years ago to now, and it's really night and day, and you know what? I still feel like there's so much to grow. And honestly, that's like the amazing thing about this career. There's always so much room to grow, be vulnerable, ask others for help. I have no relation with Sony. I'm not friends with anyone there. I don't know anyone with Sony, so this is just my opinion. I don't think an FX6 Mark II is coming anytime soon. And if it does, I think it's more so gonna be hardware, feature stuff, but I think the sensor is gonna be the same. That's just my opinion. If you look at what Sony's been doing with some of the other cameras, A7C II, A7R2, ZV-E1, look at all the cameras that have come out in the last 2 years. Basically, they've been milking this sensor and just putting it into different bodies. Maybe some bodies they're taking away some stuff, adding some things without cannibalizing different cameras. People complain they want more resolution in this camera or the ability for 4K Super 35. That's why the FX9 exists. So I think they've been really tactful of not completely cannibalizing their own sensors. They also will give you, let's say, like the ZV-E1. That's an FX3 in this small little baby body. Obviously there's limitations. There's no fan, only one SD card slot. So there's different cameras for everyone, and I like that Sony has given to them. FS7 I, FS7 Mark II, same sensor. They changed a couple of things. I never really messed with the FS5 too much, but I think there was a Mark I and a Mark II. I think the sensor more or less stayed the same. I think it'll be hardware things that they change. I mean, maybe you'll get a slightly bigger sensor, and if that's the case, that's another discussion. But in my opinion, it'll just be a couple things with features and the hardware, not the sensor or image. $6,000 for what you get for this camera. It's amazing. I think it is the best bang for buck cinema camera in that price range. I think it blows every other option out of the water, obviously depending on what you're doing, but considering XLR, ND, high frame rates, full frame, modular, all these different things. It's a video camera. I think it's an amazing buy. It's a great purchase. And I mean, I remember even when I was looking, 2.5 years ago, I was looking at the C70, the red Komodo, this, and this, I just felt trumped it out of the water. I mean, even the C300 Mark III, but honestly, do you even know anyone that shoots on that camera? That camera is still probably double the price of this. And maybe there's a couple extra little, bells and features. Was it have internal RAW? I don't know. I don't care. The price was double, and I'm like, why would I want that? And the C70, it's a much smaller form factor camera. It's Super 35. I don't know. I mean, if you're invested in Canon, I guess it makes sense, but I wanted more of like a video camera. I'm very happy being invested in the Sony ecosystem. Another thing, if maybe you're coming from A7S III, FX3, The files from this camera are so easy to edit, and time is everything. I have the M1 Max Pro or whatever, fully spec'd that thing out. It has a harder time with the FX3 MP4 files. All right, so now ask yourself, where are you in your career? Are you still just one-man banding, shooting little events? Are you doing little mom and pop shop jobs? Or are you starting to do more corporate work? Are you working with other crew members? Do you need XLR for sound to pop in? Do you need time code? It really depends on where you are in your career, and if you're starting to kind of level up from, you know, the one-man band videographer into more of a DP camera operator working more with a couple of more people other than just yourself, this is a perfect tool for that kind of work. So yeah, and so before this camera, I had my A7S II for 5 years. I ran that thing to the ground, and by the end of it, I felt like I outgrew it. The 8-bit image, no professional audio, the form factor, my productions were scaling up. I was renting cinema cameras. This is kind of how I grew, kind of just from a videographer more to a DP camera operator. I increased my day rate, and what I would do is included in my day rate, I would have cinema camera, professional lighting package. So at that point, then I was able to charge more than that. And so what I did was I grew my day rate. I wouldn't tell them that I didn't own these things, but I would include it, and I kept renting these cameras out, waiting for the right camera, which eventually became the FX6, which was announced, I think, like end of 21, and I picked it up early 22. But once you get to that point where you're renting out this type of camera a lot, then you got to say to yourself, you know, that couple $100 should be going into your pocket. Paid this thing back tenfold. I lost count. This thing has been the greatest investment I've ever made since I started video production professionally in 2014. I don't feel like I've outgrown this camera yet. When I do, I'll let you guys know. This is gonna be my A camera for a long time. I'm not ready to upgrade to anything else. Fine, if there was gonna be an FX6 Mark II, what would I want on it? I would want a smaller bit of ND. I feel like the first, like 1/4 ND, I would want like 1/2, so half of that. So give me a smaller starting point of ND, because sometimes I feel like you're at your base ISO 800, let's say I opened at f2.8, it's a little too hot, I throw the 1/4 ND on it, then it's too dark. So I'd like a middle ground, just me personally. Number 2, I would like a cleaner high base ISO, and I would like that to be lower. I think 12,800 is a little bit too high. I find you do need to kind of shoot it a little bit, overexpose the second base to reduce noise. But even then, every time I pull up my images, the low base is so much cleaner. Listen, I've gotten good results out of it, but it's always a little noisy. Maybe I'm not exposing properly. And again, like I said before, maybe there is more I need to learn with this thing. Give me an ISO 6400 or a 3200, but get it damn clean, or somewhere between 3200 and 6400 as your second base, and have it super clean. That would be much more useful for me. I would prefer that. So the screen, it's like, I mean, we've talked about this, the way it connects. It's just like, it's kind of like janky, it's plasticky. Make something a little stronger. Make a more robust screen, make the attachments a little stronger. This is like day one stuff, but hey, if I had to complain or ask what I want from Mark II, this would be in. And then number 1, everyone's gonna agree with this, give us a 3.5mm jack on the body. The only way you could get professional audio is with the top handle, which I do keep on for all my configurations, more or less. Give us a 3.5mm jack. Hey, an XLR would be great even in the body, but I'm not gonna ask for too much. And again, that's why something like the FX9 exists, XLR built into the body. Yeah, those are my couple of things. There's probably more things that I could think of, and it'll probably be after I shoot this video. The FX6 is still a great buy in 2023. You really cannot go wrong with this camera for the price. It is still industry standard. It is requested on a lot of productions. It's opened my doors into a ton of other types of work. This camera has really opened the door for me, and I think it could open the door for you. That's about it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I've been meaning to make this video because people are asking, oh, when's the Mark II coming? Is it still a good buy? Yes, it's a good buy. You know, maybe if you ever see the price drop on this thing, then that might be Sony telling you that it is coming. I do wonder though if they're gonna build something between the FX3 and the FX6, kind of like a little square sort of thing, maybe something, a similar form factor to like a C70 or a Red Komodo, but with internal ND. I don't know how that would differentiate to this. They'll have to figure that out, but that might be cool. I've talked to friends about that. I'm super content with this camera. It's great. I think it's still a good buy. Rent it out, try it out before you do it. It's a lot of money, I understand. Hope you enjoyed this video. Cheers. Bye.